Hi, welcome back to Home Stitch here. Sorry I've been on a hiatus. Sorry, this is some of the stuff I have to show you. I have a big haul. I was in the city for about 3 weeks. Unfortunately, we had two big deaths in the family. My great-grandma was the first one when we got to Winnipeg. And the reason we went to Winnipeg, was because my grandma, my dad's mom, wasn't doing very well. And then she made a recovery. So we went there, and then we found out on the road that great-grandma wasn't doing very well, or Oma. And so we got home and found out that Oma passed away. Then we waited a week and a bit for her funeral. And then the day that I was supposed to go home, we found out that my grandma, so my dad's mom, wasn't doing very well, and it wasn't looking very good. So I ended up staying until she passed away. And she went very peacefully, and me and her were very close. She actually started, she taught me how to knit at 7. She was left-handed, so I was a left-handed knitter for the first bit, and then my other grandma, my mom's mom, taught me how to cross stitch, embroider, all that stuff. Actually, she didn't teach me how to cross stitch. She taught me how to embroider, knit, and crochet right-handed. So yeah, that was my grandma Charlene. So she had, I don't know if I mentioned, she had dementia, and she had severe strokes. Well, they were like little strokes, but they worked up. One of the kids is laughing. I'm not laughing at my grandma. I'm laughing at that my husband's uncle's over, and he's visiting with the kids because he usually is over every 2 days, and he hasn't seen the kids in like 3 weeks. And if you hear the door scratching, my dog is trying to break in because the kids are being loud, and he is a scaredy cat and he doesn't like loud noises. So other than that, if you hear any sounds, crying, laughing, whatever, my husband does have the kids. My husband is looking after the kids, and yeah, his uncle, they're watching some kind of TV show. We just watched the football game. If you don't know, I am from Canada, and we have the CFL, and we are, our team, our province team is, I don't know why I just said province, really weird, or our province team is Saskatchewan Roughriders. I'm originally from Winnipeg, Manitoba, so I am originally a Blue Bombers girl. I don't really particularly take in sports. My husband's family is a big sports family. My dad played semi-professional football. My husband played football, so probably one of my kids will play football. And I'm kind of hoping that Carolee plays football, because that would be freaking awesome, and I would be a proud mommy. Oh, if Nikki played football too, I'd be a proud mommy too, but I'd like to see her kick butt. And I always tell her she's an independent woman, and she's like, oh, she turns 5 months today, so gotta teach them early. But that's besides the point. Yeah, we were in Winnipeg for 3 weeks, and I think I went to Michael's over 6 times. And it kind of corresponded when we had to go see my grandma, because my grandma, I went to the one, there's one close to my mom and dad's house, and there's one in another part, or there's 3, and so there's one closer to my mom's or my grandma's nursing home. So my mom drove me there, and my mom went to the bingo store. My mom plays bingo. I love bingo, but since having the twins, I've only gone to bingo like 3 times, and I don't miss it as much as I used to. But I used to bring, when I was pregnant, and even before I was pregnant, I would bring knitting with me, and I would knit while playing bingo. And yeah, it was kind of funny. I was the youngest person in the bingo hall, but oldest at heart kind of thing. But other than that, I have a huge haul, and Magical Stitches has been going awesome. I think I already have close to 4 items done off of my extra credit. I've still been hitting all my prompts, even with the stuff in Winnipeg going on. It's kind of been my, there you go, it's kind of been my distraction. So when I would come home from the nursing home after visiting my grandma, I would visit with the kids, or sometimes if it was a really rough visit, I would go into my room and cross stitch for the first little while. And then once I kind of got myself together, I would go sit with the kids and I would bring my cross stitching. I don't know why my lamp is flickering, but they're different light changes, I guess. Or there's a fly. You can see there's a ball of Bernat yarn. I'm in my regular room. I only have one room. I'm in my room right now. So while in Winnipeg, I'll start off with, what should I start off with? I guess I should start with what I'm working on. So my lips. This is also a haul item. I did film, sorry about all the crinkling, I did film a bunch of videos while I was in Winnipeg, but I just find that they are too far back that it doesn't really work to put them together. So I bought a couple of dimension kits, and this was one of my prompts, and I think this one will be my one of my extra credits, but this is called Footprints, and it's called He Spoke by Dimensions. And this is going to be for my auntie, one of my aunties, my mom's best friend. And instead of, I'm going to change it from child to sister. It says, he spoke, my precious child / sister. It's a memorial piece for her. I love you and would never leave you. When you saw only one set of footprints, that was when I carried you. And it's a memorial piece for her brother who passed away a couple of years ago. And I saw this and it just hit my heart. Like I had to get it for her. She's my mom's best friend. She's been her best friend for like 40 something years. So this is as much as I got right now. So this is pretty far for me. I did a lot of stitching on this for Magical Stitches. And if you want to know, I am a Hufflepuff. And yeah, I'll talk more about Magical Stitches and the other sales I'm in right now, or will be in, because that is freaking exciting. I did get, oh, what am I doing? I guess I'll do a haul mix. So I got out of a magazine, I hadn't started this yet, a No Drama Llama. Mickey's does this crying laughing thing, and I got 14 count Ada, which I'm going to use for a Christmas piece. One thing I'm working on, and I have it on DMC fabric. Oh, and there's my needle for this project. I'm using DMC fabric, 14 count Ada, and this is oatmeal. I think I am doing In the Woods by Prairie Schooler. I got this in the mail. I got it from Etsy. This is one of the things I ordered from Etsy. I have another order coming in, and I bought a couple patterns, which I'll tell you about after. So this was in, I think I have 100 more stitches to go on this, and it's a prompt in Magical Stitches of an 8-piece series, and this has 8 in it, and it's in the woods. So it's woodland animals and woodland birds, and I am doing fuzzy creature bird kind of thing. So, but this will be put on hold after. I have 100 more stitches to finish this week's homework. Since I had a lot of stuff going on with my grandma this week, I am a little bit behind on the homework because I didn't have the brain space to cross stitch when I got home after she passed. So yeah, I'm working on this. Then I know you're not supposed to stick your needle into the fabric, but I don't have enough needle minders, which I'm gonna order some more off 123 Stitch, or Etsy, whatever I feel inclined to order from. If you hear crackling, it's from some of the more stuff that I bought. And yes, I have seven kits that I bought, and I have a crap ton of cross stitch that I did do in Winnipeg. So this got the most love, and I screwed up a bunch of places, but this is going on my wall, so it doesn't really matter. I miscounted in a bunch of places. This is the Prairie Schooler, where there are bees. Where there is bees. Originally I bought this for my husband's boss because they are, as I explained, they're alfalfa farmers, and they're doing a blend this year, but usually but cutter bees don't produce honey. Nikki is crying right now and I'm so sorry. And so we were gonna put where there's bees there's money, because usually if the pollination's good, cha-ching. So that's what I'm working on, and I have another 1,000 stitches for 2 prompts this week. So it's close to the kids' bedtime, so if you're wondering why Nikki's crying, that's why. And we were also at my in-laws all day. So I have another 1,000 stitches I can put into this, and I'm hoping to have this done before I start one of my next pieces. For a stitch exchange that I'm going to be doing with Candy Stitches. I think that's what it is. So a prompt, one of the prompts, I can't remember what it was. One of the prompts in School Magical Stitches was to work with something that had a cauldron on it, and something in the memory of Aragon, or Aragon, I think it's Aragon. It's been a long day, so it's the spider that Hedwig. Okay, it's the spider who lives in the dark forest, or the forbidden forest. Forgive me, please. I am a mother of twins, and my headspace isn't that great right now. So I did 500 stitches on this, and then I'm going to be doing the 500 in the memory of Aragon, and that is a spider, so that'll be another 500 stitches. I can't remember. I got this off Etsy. I bought this fabric from Michaels, and it is 14 count Aida, and I think I have all the call for DMC, and I kind of went crazy on the DMC. I grab 2 skeins of each color. Doesn't matter the pattern, because I can always put it in my stash afterwards. So that's that. Then and I got a big stash of DMC for in the woods, and I got 2 of each. Nikki's very grumpy again. So after I got He Spoke, I got Be a Light. I saw this on a stitch along, and I absolutely loved it. So it's on 14 count maybe Aida, and it's so funny because I was thinking, I mentioned this in another video, I was talking about Java Girl Stitches. She talks about how she loves stitching with Aida. I have not stitched with anything else, but I find that it's something that I really like, so I'm interested in trying other fabrics. But if I just stitch on Aida, I'm pretty good. So yeah, that was what I got, and this will be part of, pretty sure this will be, or the Mandrake piece I'm working on will be what I'm going to be using. But this all this back here is all half stitches, so you need 250 half stitches for 5 points. And I'm gonna let you know that I love Dimensions kits. I have a couple of them that I've started. I've completed one. It was for one of my mom's friends' son him and his girlfriend had a baby, and I made footprints. I don't have the one here, but I have the Learn to Stitch, and that was it. I bought these for my kids, but I ended up making their son one. And it's funny because the kid ended up with a name that sounds like a Days of Our Lives name. I am not obsessed. I've watched Days of Our Lives for like the last 25 years. Not 25 years, because I'm 25. So the last 20 years, I started watching it with my daycare worker, and I watched it. I still watch it. I watch it with my mom, my grandma, and so the kid had a name that actually is one of the characters off of Days of Our Lives. It's Kate Roberts' son, one of her sons. So yeah, it was kind of funny because I said to my mom, I said, do you realize that that is one of the Days of Our Lives characters' names? And it's his first name and his middle name, and it's a Days of Our Lives character. That is the only soap opera that I've watched. That is the longest show I've watched, and it doesn't matter how many times. Oh, I found my needle from where there's bees. It came off my needle minder. It doesn't matter how many times I stop watching it. I end up watching it when my mom comes to visit, and my mom comes lots, and so does my dad. I wouldn't be surprised if my dad is here more often, which is good because I love my dad and I'm very close with my dad. My mom comes and she's starting her classes. She's starting her singing classes. She was supposed to start last week, but then she ended up canceling her classes to help out. So she goes back in not this week coming up, but the next week. And so yeah, so she comes out when she can. So then I'll end up getting her. I have a stitch exchange through Candy Stitches, which I talked about, and I will be getting her to import my floss because it is cheaper. It works out 73 cents a skein. That's Canada prices, so you have to remember the exchange rate between the US to Canada. And so that will be coming from Winnipeg with my dad when he comes to help with harvest. So this is one I got. I think I got this Tuesday. So that was the 10th. And I thought this was a perfect piece for what's going on right now. Just to take time and heal. And take time to remember all the good things and not how everything turned out with grandma and everything. So it'll be nice to have a piece where I can just take time. I was thinking my kids are big. I'm a big Eagles fan, like the band. It was actually the first concert that my dad went to go see, and so I was gonna put "Take It Easy" on it. I think that would be kind of a cool thing to do. I love the Eagles and my kids love the Eagles too. It's actually something that calms my kid down when nothing else can calm him down. I put on a couple of the songs, and usually it takes about 3 songs and we're out, and he's out for sleeping. So I ordered some stuff of 1-2-3 Stitch. As you all know, my husband's a farmer, and I'm obviously a farmer's wife. I put it on in my title card. And now that I have some stuff, now that I'm stitching, my husband's not a produce farmer. He's not a livestock farmer. He is a grain farmer, and trying to find things with grain on it or anything like that, except that has it like in the picture with the barn and stuff, it makes it very difficult. So because most of the pictures that I found have produce or have animals in it, and I would like to find something that was close enough to what my husband does. So I ordered 2 Mill Hill kits, a dimensions kit and a Russian. It is so Russian, it is in Russian. So before I left to go to Winnipeg, I made an order for 1-2-3 Stitch. So I got 2 Mill Hill, what's it called? 2 Mill Hill kits. It comes with the glass beads and a treasure, and they're both of them. Oh, one is 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and the other one is 325 by 225. So the first one I got was a Christmas pickle. When I was little, my grandma, who just passed away, her and my grandpa had a Christmas pickle that we used to hide. Actually, my grandpa told me to go hide it because whoever found it first got an extra Christmas gift. And I just thought this was a great little homage to my grandparents at Christmas time. so that the kids will have a little bit of a reminder of my grandparents. So yeah, this is part of their winter collection. Then I got the Mill Hill collection. This is the Harvest Barn counted glass bead kit with treasure. And you get a pizza slice. So this one, I might change the tractor color. I don't think it has beads on it, but my husband isn't a John Deere tractor kind of guy. No one in our family is, and it's funny because we almost named our son John. That's his middle name. So, not to offend anybody, but my husband just doesn't like John Deere tractors. He prefers Case or Massey. So this will be a Christmas ornament. So it's got the silo. It doesn't have any livestock, but it will have a piece of produce because that's the treasure that comes with it. It's a little pumpkin in here, and it comes with everything. Then the next thing, my husband has a blue truck. And like I said, it's hard to find things that don't have produce in it, which this one does. It doesn't have livestock in it, and that isn't a John Deere tractor. It has produce in it, but it isn't John Deere. And my husband has a blue Ford, so I thought this was perfect. And then I'll end up putting our area, or the area that our farm is in, and our province. And then I think this would be really cute to hang up on what will be the cross-stitch wall in our living room. So the last one is, I've been looking if anybody knows where I can get something that corresponds with what I'm looking for. I'm obsessed with Russian, well, it's more like the Russian Romanovs, the Russian royal family, the Tsar. When I got sick a couple of years ago, this started when I was very little, my love for learning about the Russian royal family. But I watched documentaries all about the different royal families. Started with Queen Victoria, and then went down each little sector of all of her children, and then it went to all of her grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So we got to Queen Elizabeth and King Prince Philip. And then I watched some about Prince Philip, watched some about Prince Charles, Princess Margaret. I got a book and I read some of it to my grandma because my grandma grew up in the age of that royal family. And actually for her birthday last year, which I never got framed for her, which will end up being in my stitching room, I got a letter from the Queen's lady in waiting. So you can write Buckingham Palace, and you can you get a letter. My husband's uncle just left. You can get letters on their stationery, so it says Buckingham Palace, airmail, and it's got everything that you would need for it to come over, and it was addressed to my grandma, and it was very beautiful, and she cried. But going back to that, when I was little, the movie Anastasia came out, and so my grandma printed off the Wikipedia page for me, and she couldn't read it to me because it was too gruesome about how they died and everything. So she says, wait till you get older and then you can find out on your own. So after I started watching all the documentaries and everything, this was probably when I was about 6. I was probably 5 or 6 when I watched the movie at my mom's house for the first time. And yeah, it just started my love for Russian cultures, Russian heritage. I don't know if I have any Russian ancestry. I know that my husband is Ukrainian and Polish, so there might be a little sliv of Russian in there, but that's besides the point. I am looking for a Russian castle. Yeah, a Russian palace piece. Full coverage doesn't matter. And this piece is so Russian, it's in Russian. I got all the last 4 kits have been from 123 Stitch. So this comes from Moscow, which is actually, it's from 123 Stitch, and it comes with everything we need, all the floss. I don't know what it all comes with because, well, it comes with the needle. It has all the instructions, and this is where it's from. It has all the instructions, but I just got home yesterday, and this was waiting for me. I was so excited. So this week I was on Instagram, and I'm going to talk about the stitch along. So, or I'll talk about School Magical Stitches, then I'll talk about the stitch along, and then I'll talk about the other thing. So, sorry, I'm sitting on my bed and there was something on my bed. I'm not part of School Magical Stitches. I am a Hufflepuff. I'm actually like a Hufflepuff in real life, not just because I wanted to be a Hufflepuff. My Patronus is a Saint Bernard, which is kind of funny, but that means like you're a loyal person and yada yada ding dong. It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's been going really good. I've been able to keep up with the homework. Some weeks are a little bit more of a pressure to get done, especially depending on how the twins are doing. And now coming up with harvest, I don't have a lot of off time. So then with this, Carolee's talking, or she's making little sounds. So I was on Instagram the other day, and Candy Stitches, I think that's what it was. Let me see. I have the pattern that I'm stitching for the person. Yeah, it's Candy Stitches on Instagram, and she's already started the drawing process, and I have a lady that I'm going to be stitching for, and it needs to be stitched and in the mail or in the owl post by November 13th. And she says, if your house elf will be stitching your piece, feel free to make it bigger. If you have any questions, send me an owl. So the lady that I'm stitching for, she's also Canadian. And so I kind of went to her wish list, and I went through it and kind of looked at what pieces, and I ended up picking one of her more extensive pieces, because first of all, it's something I would stitch, and second of all, I think it'd be a really cool either pillow. I'm thinking I'm gonna make it into a pillow, but I'm not too sure, or I might just put it into a frame, and then I'll send her a couple other goodies. It's like $25, I think, and my plan is to get her a pattern and to kit it up for her, at least the floss, because I think she really likes linen, and the only place I can get linen is through 123 Stitch, and I don't know when I have my next payday, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm doing, I don't know, okay, sorry, it's all cracked. This is a Mandrake, and it's by Rit Stitch on Rit Stitch. Oh, it's based on an illustration by Irene Horace. It's half stitches, full stitches, back stitches, and French knots, which my grandma is going to teach me next time that I'm there. It's my ma. That's my mom's mom. So that was one of her things that she really wanted to either stitch or have stitched to or sent to her. So I'm using a 14 count. I'm going to be using Oatmeal by DMC, 14 count Ada. It is a 114 by 56 stitches, 20.7 by 28.3 centimeters, and it is using DMC. It's a bunch of different colors. I think there's about 25 different colors, and there's blended threads, which I don't mind. I've used blended threads before and it didn't really bother me. The only thing is the chart is like, I'll tell you. Oh, she gives you a colored chart. She gives you a colored chart and a non-colored chart, so a working copy. which I most likely will end up having to, will most likely end up having to, what's it called? Most end up printing off, or whatever I'm doing with that. It's a little difficult to work on my iPad since I cracked it a couple of years ago. And I use the Jen Hicks kind of way of using Knit Companion. So, sorry, I'm just like so excited because this looks like so cute. Actually, the funny thing was when I gave birth to my son Nicholas, Nicholas and Carolee are twins. He looked like a mandrake. And I said to my husband after everything was said and done, they were in NICU. They were in NICU for a day, and I laughed because I was like under so much stuff that I thought my son looked like a mandrake. Pretty cute though. He was pretty cute, or he is pretty cute. Other than that, I've been just working on my cross stitch while I was in Winnipeg. I got to visit a lot of people. I got to see my best friend, who is probably watching this, so hello. I got to see my aunts, my uncles at the funeral. I got to see all my cousins except one. He was unable to make it. He is starting university. He is starting engineering, so he lives about 9 hours away, so unfortunately he couldn't make it down. It was his first week of classes, so it would have been about an 18-hour round trip, and I don't know if there's a big airport in that area, so unfortunately he wasn't able to come down. I haven't seen him in like 2 years. No, I saw him last year because I said to him, I was like newly pregnant, and I said, in October, I'll find out if I'm having 1, 2, or 3 babies, which I ended up having 2, a boy and a girl. And so that was really nice that I got to see all my family. I got to go out for coffee with my cousins, who, when I used to live in the city, we went out for coffee all the time. Yeah, we got to see I got to see like everyone I wanted to see. I spent a lot of time with my cousins that I don't get to see on my dad's side, and I got to see my auntie, my uncle, lots, which was nice. It wasn't nice under the circumstances, but other than that, we are doing okay. We are happy to be home, and we have a lot of TV or PVR to catch up on. Me and my husband watch Ink Master. For a guy who doesn't like tattoos, he sure watches Ink Master. And what else? Then we have a couple of shows that are coming on. Ink Master is one of them. The Ink Master Grudge Match is coming on. Then we watch Riverdale, which is in October. And we binge watched the first 2. I watched the first season by myself. Then I said to my husband, you have to watch this. And we ended up watching it, and he ended up watching it, loving it. So we ended up binge watching all 2 seasons until the second season midway. Then we watched Stranger Things, which is over for right now, and that was amazing. And then the show that I've been binge watching right now is Peaky Blinders, and I'm hoping I'm going to be coming up with a couple designs, and I will be coming up with a Peaky Blinders inspired piece. I started watching it because I really like Tom Hardy, and my husband jokes around with it, jokes about that all the time. I actually, I didn't know who Tom Hardy was before. I watched the movie Legends, which is about the Cray brothers, and I've watched a bunch of documentaries about the Crays. Legends is my favorite movie. I've watched it at least 15 times, if not more. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. I'm watching the first through fourth season on Netflix. And right now in the UK, they have the 4th season or the 5th season on, and you can't watch it in Canada or the US yet. So we're waiting for that to come out, and I'm so excited. Actually, it's pretty interesting. The guy that plays Thomas Shelby and the guy who plays Arthur Shelby and Tom Hardy have actually worked together in different movies. Tom Hardy has worked with the guy who plays Arthur Shelby in Legends. He plays Alfie Donahue. And he play with the guy who plays Thomas Shelby, who's the main character. He worked with him in Inception. So yeah, it's kind of cool how all those worlds kind of overlap together. I'm actually pretty interested to see what they're doing with their characters this season. What else is there? Yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to get done, cross stitch wise and designing wise. I use fiddle stitch for right now until I kind of get my stuff over and done with, and that will be about it. So I should be back from now on pretty regularly, probably every 2 weeks ish, and I will catch up with you another time. If you want to see me on a regular basis and get pictures of my twins, you can follow me at Twin Mom Stitcher on Instagram. I also have a personal account, which is, I think it's Megan Kowalchuk 306. I will put both in there in the description down below, and that's about it. So I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and I hope you have a good day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.